Come and make my crazy good curry with me. It's a weird name, I know, but hear me out. I created this recipe during the height of COVID when there was not much available at the supermarket. So this crazy good curry surprised me how good it turned out, hence the name. And it's basically used with a lot of things I just raided from my pantry and my freezer. So it takes about 20 minutes, there's 4 steps. It's part of one of the recipes on my created recipes, but don't worry, I will share it with you so that you can cook it on your cookie do guided as well. So once I share it with you, you'll be able to find it in your My Recipes and the created recipes collection. So once I share it and you add it to your cookie do, that's where you'll find it. Okay, let's start cooking. First up, we're using the staples. So what I do love about this recipe is that it's very adaptable. You can make like the base of this and use whatever you've got on hand at the time. So what I'm using is a lot of non-perishables and frozen goods, where if you've got fresh stuff, you can just easily swap that out. So first up, we're going to put an onion. In the recipe, I've got dried garlic granules, but I had fresh garlic, so I'm gonna use fresh garlic here instead. So we've got onion, ginger, and I've added the garlic. Now you do wanna opt for fresh ingredients where you can, but this recipe was kind of designed to use all of the non-perishables that you may have stored in your pantry or freezer. Chopping that down, 3 seconds. Okay, great. So all of our chopped onion, ginger, and garlic. Now we're gonna scrape that down and saute. And same again here, I've got in the recipe coconut oil, but you can use olive oil. I'm gonna use olive oil today because I've only got a little bit of coconut oil left and I wanna use it for something later. So I'm going to use olive oil. You can really, really interchange this recipe, which is what I love about it. It really gives you the confidence and kind of the independence to make it your own with whatever you've got. So we've got adding the oil. If you didn't know, on a created recipe that's been shared with you, it will bring up the list of ingredients and their weight when you hit the scales button down below. So it's quite good because it shows you everything you need in one frame. And now with our spices, I've put them all in here together, but we're using turmeric, we're using paprika, we're using cardamom and cinnamon and cumin. So we're using all of those. I've popped them in here. They're gonna go in there and then nicely saute with the oil and the onion, the ginger and the garlic. They are gonna get nicely sauteed. So 4 minutes, 110, and just on a speed of 5, and that's gonna start smelling delicious really soon. So what I mean when I say that this recipe is super adaptable is that you can keep just the base ingredients. So we've got onion, ginger, garlic, and that can be dried or fresh. Then we've got a range of the different spices and the oil, and we can use that as a base, maybe even the coconut cream and the tomato as well. And then honestly, you can add whatever different vegetables, fresh or frozen, that you have on hand. I'm using some frozen spinach, I'm using frozen peas, I'm using chickpeas from the can, the Thermomix vegetable stock that was in the freezer. I have some potatoes, but you don't have to add potatoes, especially if you want to keep it lower in carb. And so really, this is the quickest kind of base of a curry that you can have. And then you just choose whatever you've got to have, whatever you've got on hand to use it up. If you've got vegetables that are kind of going bad and need to be used, throw it in and make this curry. Then it can go back in the freezer. It makes 4 to 6 serves. So 4 serves if you just serve it with nothing on the side, but if you want to make it go a little bit further, you can serve it with rice, naan bread, You can make it with cauliflower rice, that kind of thing. You can make it go to 6 serves if you want to. Now, this is also a vegetarian recipe, but as I've explained, it's just a base. So you can totally add any other animal meats for protein or some tofu for protein. It's really customizable, so make it your own. So make sure you let me know how you make it your own and how it went, because I would love to hear how you adapted it and what you used in your crazy good curry recipe. All right, so that has finished sauteing. I love that smell. Let's continue on and see what's next. So we're using potatoes. You can use sweet potato, a white or purple sweet potato works awesome, but I had regular potatoes in the pantry, so that's what I'm using. So you do want to cut them nice and small. You don't want to have them too big. So adding in those potatoes, adding in the tomatoes. So just using a can of diced tomatoes. That's always really handy just to have in the pantry. We're using coconut cream, another handy thing to have in the pantry just for whenever you need it. Now our vegetable stock, the famous Thermomix vegetable stock. If you don't have some of that in the freezer, you definitely want to have some of that in the freezer. That is, it lasts 6 months in the fridge, but if you put it in the freezer, it lasts for much longer. And also with the salt content, the stock doesn't actually go solid. So I've got mine in a big jar and you just simply scoop out what you need at the time. And of course that saves you lots of nasty additives and preservatives and MSG and all the other stuff that they put in stocks in particular, not to mention store-bought curry paste. So here we are avoiding all of that. Okay. Popping that on, popping the measuring cup back on this time. We're cooking for 14 minutes, 110 degrees, and on a reverse, and speed 0.5 again. Okay, the 14 minutes went quick. That is smelling delicious. Now we're just gonna add the remainder of the ingredients. Now, you've got options here. I've got chickpeas or peas. I'm actually gonna use peas with a little bit of chickpeas. So I'm gonna save half of the chickpeas for something later, but I'm opting, what I've got in the freezer. So I'll put in some of the chickpeas. Now I'm also gonna put in some of these peas, or all of the peas. I've got an option in here for baby spinach, but I wanted to show you again, sticking with those pantry and freezer staples, I'm using frozen spinach. So it's just 60 grams of that. But also I had a few leaves of chard left in the fridge, so that needed to be used up. So I've thinly sliced those, and I'm just gonna mix those through at the end. So like I said, use whatever you got. If I had broccoli, that'd be in there. If I had zucchini, that'd be in there. So whatever you've got on hand. So we're putting the spinach, the peas, the chickpeas, cranberries if you have them. I didn't have any, so I'm opting to leave that out for today. Okay, cooking that for another 2 minutes. If you are using baby spinach here, you may need to take the measuring cup off and get your spatula in and just push the baby spinach down into the curry liquid. Otherwise it might just stay on top, but because I've got the frozen spinach, I don't need to do that, but I would have done that with the chard as well if I needed to. Okay, here we go. Now that is ready to serve up. Now, like I said, it's like 4 really decent sized serves, but can also extend to 6 if you were serving with rice, or if you were serving with cauliflower rice or cabbage noodles or any kind of side that you want, maybe some roti bread or some naan bread, and you can make it go further. You can also add some, if you were gonna add some tofu, I would add it into the step in the last couple of minutes there that I added in the spinach and the peas. So let's serve this up and see what it's like. Okay, so this looks so good. First of all, it's going into my thermo server with the chard in the bottom there that I'll mix through. All right, check this out. I cannot wait to get into this tonight. So the crazy good curry, I know, like I said at the start, weird name, but it surprised me about how good it was, how good it was from stuff that I just raided my pantry and freezer to make this. And in 4 simple steps, you've got a crazy good curry on your table. And that is one of the reasons why this recipe is one of the stars from my Weeknight Dinners Made Simple program and recipe ebook, because it really is such a simple, quick, easy dinner. Other things I love about this recipe is that it's really warming, it's gluten-free like everything ThermoFit does, and it's additive free. So you'll find a lot of additives, preservatives, you'll find unnecessary sugars and vegetable oils and seed oils in curry pastes and things like that that you buy when you buy it already made. And you saw that was simple, a few spices, some onion and garlic, and you can have your very own base. Very much heaps cleaner, less additives, no worries, and it's nutritious for your family. And like I said, I have put this recipe on Cookie Do as part of my created recipes, which of course I'm gonna share with you so that you can cook it at home. And I hope that you do get in touch and let me know how you made this dish your own and what you used that was in your pantry, fridge or freezer to make it your own crazy good curry. And you can find this recipe in my Weeknight Dinners Made Simple program or the Weeknight Dinners recipe ebook.